Hello everyone, in today's video we will be walking through how to build a basic calculator app in Android Studio, and this would be perfect for you if you're new to Android development or you just want to refresh your skills. So before you must have Android Studio. So just to walk you through as to what you're supposed to do to have Android Studio installed, Google download Android Studio, go to the first link. I have it open over here. um, yes, and you will see a link. So here the latest version to download is Iguana. So as you can see, the different versions are named after different animals. So the latest is Iguana. So click on download. So I have Windows, so this works. So it might vary for you depending on your operating system. So check on the I have read the terms and conditions once you've gone through it and click on download. It will take a few minutes given that it's a heavy application, and once that's done you can click on it in your downloads, launch the app, and it would require you to install. So keep giving next and wait for all of it to install and check everything whatever is needed, and once that's done you should be able to see it in your app. So just search for Android Studio. Okay, so now that you've created your project, you should ideally see a window like this. So if you see here, you can see a project structure with different folders and files created. This may take a bit of time because the Gradle sync has to take place, and that may require some time. So once that happens, this is what you should ideally see. And here two files automatically open up. So one is main.activity.java. This would be your backend where you write the backend code, and you will have an activity main.xml. So your XML will have code that will define how your front end looks like. So let's just head over there and let's start making changes. So if you can see here, I have this activity main.xml. There are actually three views here. You have your split screen, which is what it's in right now. So here you can see the code and the interface side by side. You can see only code, or you want only the design. That's also possible. So it's up to you if you want to see what that looks like. So now I will enable design. When you click on this design, this is what you should be able to see. So as you can see here, this is actually a drag and drop interface that you can use to insert your elements, and automatically the XML code gets written. So that's one plus point about Android Studio. So now think of it. Now I'm going to build an app that is going to add two numbers. So what all do I want? So I would want four things. So one is I want to take input. So I need to take two inputs. So that's why two elements just for it. Then I would want a button, and I would also want to see the output, right? So let's just go and insert all of those. So let's start with text view, sorry, button. So because I would like to insert a button. So you can go text, and there are different types as well. So uh, specifically what you would want also. So now in text, what would you want? So here I want a number. So I'm just going to drag and I'm going to drop it here. So as you can see, this will be my input for the number. I'm going to align it here. So if you can see, there'll be other attributes if you look at it over here. Let me expand this. This is all things. So you can see the layout, height, width, everything that's needed is, and this will take type in number. So this will take a number input. There are different types as well. You can feel free to choose what you want depending on your app. We would need this for number, right? So now let me go ahead and take another one. I'll place it right below it. So yes, that's my second number. So if you see their IDs, this ID will play an important role in the backend. So if you see here, this is edit text number, and this by default it gets assigned that. Here it's number 2, so it depends on that. Now I would want a button as well. Now let me just head over to buttons and let me drag and drop a button. Okay, so this is the button. You can also what text should be displayed by it. So it says button here right now. I want it to be something else. Let me edit it right over here. Maybe add I would give add. So that should get set over there. As you can see, the change has been reflected. And by default in this app already hello world has been written. There is a text view. So now I'm going to keep this text view because I would want to see my result, right, in some text view. Let me place these appropriately over here. Okay, so now what you might be thinking what these springs are. So these springs are actually you can by insert them through constraints. You can pull them and you can insert them. So those constraints would be respective to the screen size that you would want to do. Like from the top of the screen you would want this much space, from down this much space. So you can set up all that. So now hello world, I'm going to change the text that's in there. So I'm going to set it as so for now maybe nothing, let it be there. Let us set that when the sum has been computed, and we'll see once the backend is done. So the ID is main. You can call it anything you want, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the front end. Now let's see what the code has been generated. If you look at the code, so when you look at the code, once you click on code, you will be able to see that the code has been generated, the XML code has been generated for the front end that you just created via drag and drop. So if you can see, there was a text view that you have set for the result, right? So it has the text view, your edit text, the first one, your edit text number. The second one is for the second number that you have. So you see the ID has been assigned, the input type as number, and various other things that are needed has been defined, and your button also, the text that we changed to add has been reflected here. So this is the great thing about Android Studio. It has a drag and drop interface to generate the XML code. So now we have M front end, right? We have two numbers, but we need to see some result. It has to do something. We need to see the sum, right? So that we will be doing in the back end. So let's just head over to the back end. I have written the code and kept, and you can refer to the same in the GitHub link which is given in the description. So I will be explaining to you what they do in the interest of time. Okay, so now a lot of them would have already been done. So you would have seen that this was already created. Your package had already been imported. So let's see. So now let's assign private variables for all of them. So of type edit text, button, and text view that's present over here, right? So we need to create them of those type. So we will, and we have to give it the exact same thing that we need to. So edit text number 1, number 2. Button add and text view result. Those are names that I have chosen over here. You can give whatever you wish to, but these have to be given of their respective types, and they have to be additionally imported as well. So here import Android view and button and edit text and text view. All these have been imported, right? Because those have to be used. Okay, now coming down here on create. So what we will do is we need to get that value from them. So we'll go, how do you do that? There is a inbuilt function called find view by ID, r.id.edit text number. R is used to reference to that particular object, and you would select it based on the ID. So that's why I was emphasizing on the ID, because you need that to reference it. So here you need to look at the ID, and if you look over here, our ID has been assigned to edit text number. Similarly, all over here you have seen that there's an ID, right? So let's give r.id.edit text number, whatever their respective IDs is what you're supposed to give over here, and assign it to them what you've already declared over here. Okay, now you need this to trigger only when you click on the button. So that's called an event listener. So how do you do this? So an event listener is something based on some event, it will trigger the backend and to do something. So in this case, once you click on it, right? So button add, so your particular button, so set on click listener is an inbuilt function where the view has to be on click listener. So that's what is the event handler, right? So now it should do something. What should it do? So we will call a function when that happens. So we are going to define a function called calculate sum, which is of type public void because you're not returning anything per se. So that's why you will create calculate sum and you will write a function to add the sum. Okay, now this is the same thing that we've defined here. So let's see what it's supposed to do. So I have two inputs, right? I have the whatever I get, edit text number 1. I need to get it over here. So now let me first make it of type string. Okay, so now string, let me call it number 1 string. I'm going to reference to this particular object, edit text number 1. I'm going to get text from it. So once I do that, I will get it as an editable type object. And once that's done, I need it as toString to store it as a string, right? So toString. So that's what this does. Do the same for the two numbers and then you need to convert them into integers. Otherwise, if I do 1 plus 2 as strings, I will get 12. I won't get 3, right? So that's why I need to use the function parseInt to parse the integer. So I will store that in number 1 and number 2. So integer.parseInt and you're going to parse the string. And finally, good old addition in sum equal to number 1 plus number 2. And then you can display the result. How do I do that? Now I have this text view, right? I need to set it as whatever I want. So I'm going to use dot set text because I want to set it as a text, result equal to, and then it will concatenate the sum that has been generated. So this is the back end of the code. I hope you've understood so far. Now let's run our app and let's see how do we do that. To run our app, all you have to do is to click on this button, run button. So here for me it's a rerun button, or you can right click and you can click on run main activity. So my emulator should launch here. It might take some time for you. So if you can see, this is our app, right? Let's see if it works. So let's just give it two numbers. So I have say 6, maybe 3. And I'm able to see that I'm getting a 9. So that means our app is working, right? The way expected to. Other ways are there to run the same thing. Either if you have an Android device, either you can run it using a USB cable and you can go to the settings and change it to developer mode, and that way you'll be able to run the same thing on your device. Or you can take your device and pair it using Wi-Fi. There should be an option here. Can you see? Pair devices using Wi-Fi. Similarly, you can do the same. So this should work for all inputs. You can also, now that you know how basic way it works, you can add more functionalities to this. Now I have an add button. You can create a subtract, multiply, divide button. And instead of these inputs, you can give it something like this. You can give in actual numbers as buttons and you know what value they already take, thus make a full-fledged calculator app. Additionally, you can go on to make bigger apps as well. I hope you learned something from this particular tutorial. Thanks for watching. If you want this particular code, it will be available. The GitHub repo is available in the description. And additionally, the slides used to present the same thing, workshop in GDSE RV University, those slides are also available in the description. I hope you learned something new. Thanks for watching.